Hello everyone, and welcome to another planting day or seeding day here. The weather is still kind of cold here. We haven't really seen anything warming up. I mean, daytime temperatures are fairly mild, but they're not melting. Overnight lows are still dipping down to, minus 15 degrees Celsius to minus 20 Celsius, so that's still pretty cold. So we're still having to keep everything into the basement. We were discussing what we could do to get the greenhouse more favorable for moving some plants out there, because we are very, very rapidly running out of space down here. So anyway, but lots to do today. One of the things I'm doing today is I'm reseeding some of the tomatoes. Like, there were a few that either didn't come up or have poor germination, so I'm just reseeding them because we still have time to reseed. So the one I'm doing right now is the Hungry Hill Pink, which I've had fairly good luck in the past, but for whatever reason it just didn't want to germinate very well this round. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll try and save some fresh seed for the Hungry Hill Pinks. There we go. It was actually one that I really enjoyed growing a few years ago. So, but yeah, lots to do today. Not just seeding, but we got lots of transplanting to do. I got a couple of dahlias I want to pot up that I bought. I haven't quite mastered dahlias. They're still a plant that is a challenge for me to grow. I'm up for that challenge, so we'll give it another go. I did try to winter over some tubers that I had last fall. Some of them made it, some of them didn't. So I know some of them started growing, like it was like December, and I must not have had them in a cool enough location because they actually started to grow. So I didn't want to just, I wasn't quite sure what to do with them, so I just brought them upstairs and started watering them so that they would at least get something, because I didn't necessarily want them to die. So yeah, dahlias are one of those things I'm still learning how to manage. So anyway, let's see what else we got here that needs to be restarted. We've got, oh yes, these OSU blue didn't come up. Now I did notice, like, some tomatoes do take longer than others to come up. A lot of the ones I was worried about did actually eventually, show up, but there's still quite a few that just didn't germinate. So that's why I'm reseeding, and I still have time to do this. There's still time. It's early enough. Whoop! Uh-oh, I got seeds everywhere. Oh dear. Oh my. They just went everywhere on me. I'm usually more careful than that. Well, tomato seeds growing in from my basil seeds. Not just yet. In the garden, that'd be all right. All right, there we go. There's some more seed blue. There we go. But yeah, it's last week of March, and I don't know, it's weird. We've got such a slow start to the spring. It's probably going to be, well, I hate to say it, we're probably going to end up with a rapid melt come late April or May. If it doesn't warm up any sooner than that, it's going to just all go all at once kind of thing. Which, I don't know, I'm not sure that's a good thing, because it can lead to flooding, and we don't need flooding. We definitely don't need flooding. But we'll have to see how it goes. I know a couple years ago the water was running in the ditches, right? So it's hard to say. So I'm going to continue on with reseeding, and then I'll show you how I do my transplanting with the tomatoes. All right, so before I get started with the tomatoes, I just wanted to get some flower seeds started. What I have here are some wild Lupine Seeds. So these I bought from a seed company, and now they've been in the fridge for about 10 days in a wet paper towel, because some seeds need to be cold stratified, and that's what that means, is to put them in the fridge. Sometimes like this in cold paper towel. Sometimes you can just put the whole package of seeds in the fridge or freezer. Some seeds need to be frozen, and then even then in there for a couple weeks, and then bring them out and then start them. I know some seed companies will tell you to do that, depending on what company and the seeds, but not all of them will give you that information. I know pansy seed needs to be frozen before it's planted because it germinates better when it's been frozen. Like I said, not all of them, not all seed companies will tell you that. Sometimes it's just something you have to learn. But also mint seed does better if it's been frozen first. So these are my lupine seeds. So I am just going to, now I've got my red solo cups ready to go. I'm just going to put one seed into each cup. I'm starting off with the larger, deeper cups because lupines do tend to develop a big long taproot and they don't like to be disturbed. So if I can get them into the cups, they can stay in the cups for a longer period of time, hopefully until I can actually plant them up into the garden is my plan. So just one seed per cup, and I've got more seeds than cups, but that's okay. I'll just have to fill some more. But I've always wanted these. I love lupines. Well, I love all flowers, but I love wild lupines. I know back in 2019 I did a road trip out to BC to visit a friend of mine, and I stayed overnight at the Mount Robson campground, and the visitor center there at Mount Robson has a meadow full of wild lupines, and I went at the time of year that they were in full bloom. It was absolutely glorious to see them all. So there we go. There's my wild lupines. Now I'm gonna finish off the lupines, and then I'm gonna get started on the tomatoes. And welcome to our tomato transplanting time. Yes, it's hard to believe that we are already transplanting tomatoes. We've got lots that are ready. So what I'm going to be working on today, these are the classic beefsteak tomatoes. So a good old standby standard tomato, all-purpose, really good for fresh eating and sauces and cooking and preserving and all that. So, you know, a good old standard tomato for the garden. So what I'm using to transplant into are these 2.5-inch pots, and I'm just making a hole in each one, just like that. And then, because I do have quite a few, I did start quite a lot of the beefsteaks. I thought it was interesting that when we did the pre-orders, no one actually pre-ordered any beefsteaks. Beefsteaks are usually pretty popular and pretty standard, but yeah, we'll see how well they sell at the plant sale, because that'd be interesting. More people are going for the unusual instead of the standard, traditional, average tomato. All right, so I made the holes. All right, so now so we multi-sow these into a cell pack. So the way I do it is I will just pinch the bottom and just gently pull out one cell. There we go. And then what I do is I will just very gently pull apart the tomato, and now tomatoes, I know you'll hear a lot of other gardeners talk about this as well, because it's true. They are a bit leggy, but when I transplant them, I'll plant them as deep as I can get, right up to the leaves if I can. And what will happen is tomatoes will root all the way along that stem. They will send out, there's actually little hairs on there, and they will actually send out roots. So now I'm just gonna pop this in here, very gently push it all the way down into the soil, as far as it'll go, and then just tuck it in around it, and then we have a tomato transplanted. So it's good to be doing this. It feels early to be doing it. It seems like some of them have grown quite fast and others not so much, so I'm not sure what to make of that. And of course our spring is taking its sweet time in arriving, so this is where, we will very quickly run out of room, because once we start putting these into pots, transplanting them, it takes up a lot more space than the cell packs do. So we definitely need to figure something else out for the garden. I mean, we are rapidly out of space down here. We've already spent a small fortune on lights trying to get things going. But yeah, it's time for spring to arrive. But this is one of my favorite jobs, actually, is transplanting, because I get to work with the plants and I get my hands in the soil, and it's just life affirming and it's reassuring. And you know, the world is such a crazy place these days. Every time you turn on the news, there seems to be more chaos, more stuff happening. So I've actually started turning off the news. I actually hardly watch it at all anymore. I do watch a little bit sometimes, just, you know, because you want to be informed, but you don't want to be inundated. But this is what I enjoy doing. This kind of helps me to connect with the earth and with nature and with the plants. Sometimes I will put an extra handful of soil on top if there's not quite enough in there. But yeah, it's you know, that's why we have gardens. I think that's why a lot of us are drawn to having gardens, because they help us feel more like ourselves, more connected in a good way, in a positive way. You know, gardens and plants are healing places. And it's not just outdoor gardens, it's indoor gardens. If you have indoor plants, that can be just as beneficial as an outdoor garden. So if all you have is one lonely spider plant, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. It makes a huge difference. It doesn't matter what it is. There we go. That feels so good, getting these into some pots. I forgot to do my tags, but that's okay. I can fill those out in a bit. But these are all all beefsteaks. Like, I'm not sure why I started quite so many beefsteaks. I guess I thought they would be in demand, but maybe not. We'll see. But in the summer we do have a couple of customers who buy green tomatoes from us. So this is I guess our green tomato crop is right here. There we go. Do another section. Very gently pull them apart. Oops. Sometimes they're tricky to handle, but not so much. But it's okay. If you're gentle with it and patient with it, it should be okay. There we go. Knock it right up to there. And then that takes care of the legginess. And then these things will probably just take right off. Now that they've got more room to grow, they're just gonna go poof. So here's hoping the weather finally changes. It's just so hard, you know, just seeing all the snow still on the ground. It's just like, yeah, it's time for it to go. All right, just a few more here to finish off this tray. There we go. You've got lots going on for the garden this year. I want to start a whole whack of flowers as well. I'm hoping to get some of those started today. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. It'll depend on how far I get with the transplanting. But poppies I want to start, and marigolds, and I want to start some melons as well. I'm going to try growing some melons in the garden. The melons I think I want to try put in the hoop house, which we finally got the cover on. So it'll be warmer in there, and hopefully it'll have a longer season in the hoop house. Oh, there we go. Oh, not quite enough to fill the whole tray. I've got 4 extra pots at the end here. Oh well, I'll have to fill those with something else. All right, so all that I have to do now is water them, and then they'll be good to go. And then I'm gonna continue on with this, and maybe we'll do some flower seeds later. Okay, so I kind of had to make some executive decisions. I'm gonna hold off starting any flower seeds for now. I was just trying to think if there was anything else that needed to be started right now that was kind of more of a priority. So what I did start though was some eggplant. So I've got two varieties. I've got the Burpee's Black Beauty, and I've got the Morden Midget Eggplant, which was developed at the research station in Morden, Manitoba. So I've got both of those going. Eggplants are kind of iffy. Some years, if we have a really long growing season, if the weather's really nice, we'll get some eggplants. But if it's cold and it's a shorter season, then not so much. So they are kind of a borderline plant or crop for us. So, but we're gonna give them a go, and some of these will be for sale at the plant sale as well. So if anyone's looking for some eggplants for their garden, we'll certainly have a few for sale. The other thing that I thought I'm going to start today are my melons. So I've got two types, actually I've got three types of melons. I've got the Charentais melon, which is a French heirloom. I've got the Far North melon, which was one that was developed in, I believe, Indian Head, Saskatchewan. So it's actually a prairie melon. This is considered an heirloom as well. And then I've also got the red-seeded citron, which is also an heirloom. So the red-seeded citron is actually traditionally grown specifically for preserving, and basically you candy it, and then it would be then used in things like fruitcakes. So I wanted to give that a go. I wanted to see if I could candy my own citron and see if I can do that this year. That's my challenge for this year, is doing that, because if we can sort of grow our own ingredients for the fruitcakes, for the Christmas fruitcakes, that might help reduce our costs, because you know the cost of everything is going up. But so for today, for now, I'm just going to do some of the Charentais melon. These are just for us. These won't be for sale. These will be for our garden. And if we get any, melons off it, they will probably turn up at the market garden, at our market garden stand at the farmer's market. So typical melon seeds. So I'm hoping these will do well. I think melons are one of the, I know you can grow melons here in Saskatchewan. I think if you grow them right, if you give them lots of heat in a greenhouse, keep them warm, keep them watered. Our season is short, but I know people do grow them here, so it's a challenge. It's one of those things. It's a challenge, right? And that's part of why I like gardening. It's a way of, you can experiment and be creative with things and try new things without really risking too much. So, you might be out of a packet of seeds and a bit of soil, but whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. So there's Charentais. I'm probably planting way too many of these, but oh well. And then, I'm gonna get my tags ready. So there's still lots to do. I still needed to pot up my dahlias. I bought a couple of dahlias over the weekend. Charentais. Charentais or Charentais, I'm not sure. There we go. There we go, that's good like that. And I still, like I said, I still have all my flower seeds. I need to really decide what I want to grow for flowers. I kind of went through the seeds over the weekend, kind of sorting through them and that, and trying to organize a seed box. And I've got so many seeds, especially zinnia seeds. I keep ordering or buying zinnia seeds. I don't know why, but I do. I guess it's just one of those things. But I know last year my zinnias didn't grow at all. I started them, and they grew to be about like that big, and then they just stopped. They stopped growing, so I was disappointed. The year before that, I had beautiful zinnias. They were big and beautiful, and the bees loved them. So last year, I don't know what happened. It just could have been the year. But we're gonna grow a bunch more this year. And I'm half thinking I might offer some for sale at the plant sale, but I haven't totally decided, because we really don't have a lot of room. You know, we still have to start all our cucumbers and pumpkins and stuff like that yet too, so I don't know. I don't know if we'll do that or not. We'll see what happens, right? Okay, so I'm going to continue on with my day of seeding and planting and transplanting. I hope you are having a great week. Happy Wednesday, and until next time, you take care.